Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Auriel and I am a certified holistic health coach. And my goal is to help you live your healthiest, happiest life. Now, if you are interested in topics related to holistic health and wellness, definitely subscribe to this channel. And if you enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Now, in this video, I want to talk about mindfulness. I'm sure you've heard of the term, but for a long time, I really didn't get it. I didn't understand what mindfulness was. I'm like, is it meditation? Is it yoga? Is it coloring books? Like, I really didn't understand what mindfulness actually was. But I have been learning a lot about the subject recently, and today I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to tell you what mindfulness actually is, why you definitely should start practicing it, and some ways that you can go about doing that. So first, let's talk about what mindfulness is not. Have you ever read a book and gotten to the bottom of the page and realized you had no idea what you just read? Or come to the last bite of your meal without even realizing it? So those things are not mindfulness. That's actually mindlessness, where you're engaged in an activity but completely distracted from what you're actually doing at the time. Sometimes we call this being on autopilot. And it's cool that we have this ability to get things done without having to devote our full attention to it. So that's where things like multitasking comes in. So usually when we are engaged in mindlessness, we're either replaying the past or contemplating the future. And you might be shocked to learn that we spend a lot of our time in this state. According to a Harvard study, 47% of the time, people are thinking about something other than what they're doing at the moment. That's almost 50% of our lives spent distracted. Imagine all the things we're missing out on. So let's bring it over to mindfulness. So mindfulness is the opposite of that. It's where we can separate from all those wandering thoughts and focus on the present moment. So let me give you a clear definition of mindfulness. And there's a lot of definitions out there, but my favorite definition comes from Headspace, the popular meditation and mindfulness app. According to them, mindfulness is the quality of being present and fully engaged with whatever we're doing at the moment, free from distraction or judgment, and aware of our thoughts and feelings without getting caught up in them. So simply put, mindfulness is paying attention, noticing what's going on around you and within you, without getting wrapped up in thoughts or feelings. And that can be pretty hard to do. So the overall goal of mindfulness is to be able to observe what you're experiencing and accept it without making any judgments or labeling it as good or bad. For example, let's say you're in the car and you're driving and somebody cuts you off. You start to feel that anger bubbling up inside and you're about to go off. Now, the mindful approach to this would be to take a step back and notice what's going on for you in that moment. What are you feeling physically and emotionally? What sensations are you experiencing? What are you thinking? Yes, try to think about what you're thinking. So when you consider questions like these, it brings you back to the present moment instead of staying stuck on thinking about that terrible driver and then letting your thoughts spiral and affect your entire mood. You're much better able to control your emotions instead of letting them control you. But mindfulness isn't just for dealing with extreme emotions and situations like that. It can also be used to find joy in the simple, often mundane tasks that we do, like going for walks or eating or even washing the dishes. Tuning into the sensations that you're experiencing, like the sights, the sounds, the feelings, the tastes, it can bring a whole new level of appreciation to these everyday tasks. So let's talk about meditation. A lot of people think meditation and mindfulness are the same thing, and they're actually not. So as we already discussed, mindfulness is simply staying present and engaging in whatever activity it is you're doing at the time. But there are some activities that allow you to practice mindfulness and help you to become more mindful in your everyday life. Some examples of these are yoga and other forms of exercise, eating, and even coloring and other creative forms of expression. But meditation is probably the most popular mindfulness practice. Meditation gives you the time and space to really bring your focus inward and really tune into your body and your mind. It's kind of like a mental training almost. But the really cool thing about meditation is it's actually been shown to alter the brain. Research has shown that consistent meditation can shrink the amygdala, which is the region of the brain that's responsible for your fight or flight response, and it's the control center for stress and depression. So meditation is a really great place to start if you want to become more mindful in your day-to-day life. If you are interested in getting started with meditation or learning more about it, I highly recommend the Calm app. That's one of my favorite meditation apps. And I also really like one called Insight Timer, and then of course the Headspace app. So maybe at this point you're thinking, that sounds interesting, but what's really the point? Why would I want to practice mindfulness? Well, let me tell you about some of the many benefits for health, wellness, and overall quality of life. Some people think of mindfulness as like a spiritual kind of woo-woo out there practice, but it's actually been widely researched and its benefits are scientifically proven. One super interesting study identified mindfulness as the single most important factor in determining your level of happiness and overall life satisfaction. In this study, researchers found that the people who focused on the present moment, aka who were mindful, were significantly happier than the people whose thoughts tended to wander away from the present moment. And it didn't matter whether those thoughts were positive, negative, or neutral. So mindfulness can actually increase your levels of happiness and overall satisfaction. And I don't know about you, but I'm always looking for ways to improve my mood and just become an overall happier person. But that's not all. Research has also shown the positive effects of mindfulness on physical and mental health. Mindfulness has been shown to lower stress and cortisol levels, reduce anxiety and depression, improve sleep and increase energy levels, strengthen immune functioning, improve memory, focus, and attention, increase empathy and compassion, help with pain management, and improve confidence and emotional resilience. So how can you practice mindfulness? So we already touched on meditation, and that is a great place to get started in developing an intentional mindfulness practice. For me, meditation has become a really meaningful practice, and it's something that I do every day. And I can say I've experienced a lot of changes in my mood, my mindset, and my overall levels of happiness and positivity. Of course, it varies from day to day, but I've definitely seen a change in my overall mindset. So meditation is something I highly recommend as a self-development and self-care tool. But mindfulness doesn't have to be this formal. There are many ways you can fuse mindfulness into pretty much anything that you're doing. An easy way to get off autopilot and connect to the present moment is to ask yourself a couple of questions like, what do I notice going on around me? What feelings am I experiencing right now? What was I just thinking about? What physical sensations am I experiencing? Like tingling, pressure, discomfort, anything like that. And don't attach any meanings or judgment to what you're noticing. Just simply observe what's happening for you. And here are a couple of other mindfulness tools and techniques that I like to use and that I think are really useful practices for anybody to try. The first is conscious breathing. At any time throughout the day, pause and take a few deep breaths. Really tune into the act of breathing, which is not something that we really ever have to think about. And one tool that I really like using to help with this is the Mindfulness Bell app. So what it does is it just rings a bell at different intervals throughout the day, and I use that as a reminder to check in with myself, to take a break and take a couple of breaths. Another practice that I like to do is mindful eating. Mindful eating is where you slow down and really tune in to the experience of eating. I know for me, a lot of times I'll be watching TV while eating or listening to a podcast or something like that, and I'm just not even thinking about what I'm eating. So when you're eating mindfulness, you put away all distractions like your phone, you turn off the TV, and you really hone in to the experience of eating. So you take your time, chew it very carefully, and you're just focusing on the food that you're eating and really enjoying it. So another mindfulness technique that I really like is called the 5 senses exercise. So this is something you can pretty much do anywhere. It doesn't matter, but you take a pause wherever you are, and then you're going to observe your surroundings using your 5 senses. Notice 5 things that you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. And I find that this exercise brings so much peace, and it really brings me into the present moment and kind of eliminates all of those wandering thoughts. So these are just a few ways that you can practice mindfulness and start incorporating it into your daily routine. But keep in mind, it doesn't have to be complicated. Just asking yourself, what am I experiencing right now, is an easy, simple way to bring yourself back to the present moment and practice mindfulness at any time and any place. So that is pretty much everything you need to know about mindfulness. And hopefully you're seeing that it's really not that complicated, and it's something that you can really easily customize to fit your needs and find a way to incorporate it into your daily routine. If you want to learn more, I have a blog post that goes into a bit more detail, so I will link that below. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.